Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Beechcraft D18 project. And today we're going to look at the fuselage. We talked about getting the wing surface ready to prep and the tail, and now we're going to move over to the fuselage. And for this one, very similar to what I did on the other surfaces, I've got my cut-in area both on the nose here and a little bit on the tail, and then around the tail wheel I put some white primer on there. So I'm going to shoot the white first with an aerosol, but to do that I'm going to have to do a little bit of masking, and to do that what I have here is tracing paper. So what I have found a while ago is that it works really well for trying to get some of these more complex curved surfaces, and how to get that so that you have something that gives you that fuzzy demarcation line. It's easy to work with and you can kind of see through it, is tracing paper. So what I did is I laid my piece of tracing paper when it was a full sheet over the top of the nose here, and I know that right about the leading edge of the wing, so I can get this thing to sit properly here. It will sit with me holding both sides, but I can't see the other side, but you can kind of get the idea. Here we go. So I know that from the leading edge of the wing, and it kind of is a fuzzy wavy line that goes up around the nose and then back again. So I kind of took my tracing paper, laid it over the top of that, and I took a magic marker and I hand drew that line on there. And then I went out and I cut the shape out. You can see this is kind of what the shape looks like. And I put that down on top of here now that it's been cut. And I have a couple marks on here so that I can line up the mask with the leading edge of the wing. And then I'm going to try something brand new for this project that I've never done before. I have this clear contact paper. This is actually designed for putting in your putting on shelf units, putting in cupboards and drawers. I've never used this stuff before, but a friend of mine suggested using it as a mask. And she used it for a refurbishing project, and I'm like, hey, wait a minute, I think there's something to this. So she says it has the tact of like delicate painter's tape. So what I'll end up doing is I'll have my mask here, and I have this roll of contact paper. I will transfer the shape I made from the tracing paper onto this contact paper, and I'll cut it out. Now I'm still a little worried that it'll have too much tact. And when I say tact, that's the stickiness of the tape or stickiness of this contact paper. What I'll end up doing is I'll take that and I'll stick it on my pant leg a bunch of times, and I'll try to grab as much lint and stuff off my pant leg or shirt or anything else. You don't want to use something that like your pet's been laying on, because it's going to get pet hair all over it. But you get the idea that you want to try to reduce that tack down so it's not as sticky. At that point, I'll go ahead and I'll lay that on this surface here, and then I'll go ahead and paint. And if all goes well, that should give me that nice line of demarcation around here. Now, if you take this contact paper and you stick it tight against the surface, you'll end up with a crisp line. So what I end up doing is you take an X-Acto knife and you kind of go around the edge and you feather it. And I've done this with masking tape before, so I know it works. You pull the masking tape out. So let's say this is your surface, right? It's up there tight up against, right? This is your masking tape. This is your painted surface. So it's up there tight. If you spray right now, you'll have a nice crisp edge. Well, these aircraft don't have a crisp edge for the different colors. We call that a demarcation line. It's supposed to be a little bit fuzzy. So if you think about it in the full scale world, you're going to have a guy on the assembly line with a spray gun, and he's just gonna walk down and do a nice wavy line of white and intermediate blue where those two surfaces come together. He's not gonna mask. He is gonna hand paint that, and you're gonna get that overspray or that fuzzy line between the two colors, and that's that demarcation line. To simulate that, I'm going to use this contact paper to go around the edges, and then I'm going to take my X-Acto knife, and where those two surfaces came together, I'm going to take the X-Acto knife and I'm going to pull out the mask. So it's going to kind of do this. It's going to we call it feathering out. It will expand that out and make it a little bit rough. And when you hit that with an aerosol, so let's say this is my painted surface, this is my masking tape, and it's sticking out just a little bit proud of the painted surface. I'm going to come down and I'm going to aerosol this way. If I come down this way, I'll actually get paint in between the painted surface and the masking tape, and that won't really work all that well because all you did is just make a crisp line somewhere else. But you want to come in perpendicular to that surface, and so the air as it passes over that tape will actually kind of spin on the back side of it and then lay down on their painted surface, and that effect will duplicate the fuzzy demarcation line that we're really looking for. It's going to be a test with this. I've never used this stuff before, so this is the first aircraft we're going to try it on. It may end badly, so we're going to try it out on this first before I do too much else. Worst case scenario, I can mix it up in my airbrush, and I can hand airbrush that demarcation line. It's just one more extra step. Maybe it's going to be necessary. I don't know yet. So we're all going to find that out together. But at this point, I'm going to take my Easy Liner contact paper here, and I'm going to transfer this shape onto it, and then I'm going to go ahead and lay it around the nose. And then just to kind of, because I've already painted some of this blue around here and I don't want to get any overspray on that, I'll take a little of newspaper, and I'll tape the newspaper around just the nose here, just to kind of make sure that I don't get any overspray on it, only because I've already painted some of this blue. If it was still silver, I wouldn't even bother with it. But I know this particular surface is going to be kind of difficult to do, so that's why I'm actually going to add some mask around here, paint the white, and try to get that demarcation line around it from the very beginning. I also have a second shot at doing that when I go to aerosol, because I'll have the opposite of this. When I cut out the shape from this, I'll have two sides, right? I'll have one side that would be for painting the white, and if I took the other side, it would be so that you could paint the blue. So I could lay that surface on top of the white and then spray, and that should duplicate exactly the same shape if the demarcation line doesn't come out right. So a little bit of an experiment. We're going to see how this works. I know there's a guy that refinishes F-14 Tomcats. Well, at least that's what I saw saw him do. He was on a Tomcat. He does all sorts of other aircraft. He's on Instagram and does amazing work. He actually looked like he printed a shape onto this, or he hand drew it from a printout. And he did some very complex camouflage with it as well. So I got two cases in which this stuff seems to work well for masking. I've seen it in an RC application, and I've seen it in a home refinishing application. So we're going to go ahead and give this a shot, and we're going to see how it works.